Hello, good evening, and welcome back. So we're going to be going over the Eat Out to Help Out scheme, the pros, the cons, and why you've got to be wary about these things in the future. So, first off, it's proven to be very, very popular, with more than 10.5 million meals claimed in the first week, averaging about £5 per meal, which of course has then costed about £50 million in total. And I know that the BBC will like to say here that the government has paid 50 million, or the government will pay 50%, or seeing as the discount is capped at £10, the government will pay £10. The thing is, of course, that's not true at all. The government doesn't pay for anything. The government cannot pay for anything. The government is not a profitable endeavour. Whenever you see it say the government pays for something, it means you are paying for it. That is where your taxes are going. If you don't like where your taxes are going, then the best bet, all I can really suggest, is that you vote for somebody else who is going to spend your money in a way that you prefer. Chances are the way you want to spend your money is very individual, and therefore it's best off to not bother with the taxes and instead decide where you want your money to go. Whether you want to spend it or donate it or give it to somebody, that is entirely your decision, and that is what you should be free to do. But instead of that, of course, what the Conservative government have decided, with Rishi Sunak as Chancellor, is to say your taxes will be used to pay for other people eating out, which is a very negative feedback loop, because it says that if you don't want to have to pay so much in tax, you have to take advantage of the tax rebates that are available to everybody else. And in this case, it is eating out with the 50% discount capped at £10. So if you go out for a decent meal with your significant other, it's going to cost you more than £20. I mean, sure, you can go out for Wetherspoons, which is lovely, but that's not going to be a decent meal. I doubt your significant other is going to be pleased if you say, yeah, we're going out tonight because we're going to eat at the pub. That isn't going to go down very well. So the same thing as what they mention here, which are the main takers are chain stores like McDonald's, KFC, Subway, those kinds of places. That, again, if you try and say to your significant other, yeah, we're going to go out and enjoy, then they're going to go, cool, where are we going? KFC. Not quite what I had in mind. So the £10 is what you're going to be looking at. Not 50% off. No. But £10 off. And if you're going for something reasonable, then you're going to be looking at £50 minimum. You'd be getting close to 3 figures, if not more so, if you're looking for a special occasion to take your significant other out with. So if you've been hoping that, well, it's August, that's when we're going to be having our lovely meal out, and obviously I'm paying for the taxes anyway, so I am paying for it. It's just a way that I get to make my money back more immediately, and the way that I choose to by patronizing this particular business, then by all means go ahead. But understand that this isn't a thing of a special occasion. It is instead just a regular occurrence. So yes, of course, there are separate taxes for these individual restaurants and cafes, and let's be real, it is cafes and fast food chains which it is most applicable to for the largest percentage of savings. That is where you're getting your money back. So, being brutally honest, and it may not be nice to hear, but these are places that you shouldn't be spending money at frequently. I think we can all pretty much agree that eating out at places like KFC, McDonald's and Subway are not places that you should really go to on a frequent basis, from a health standpoint as well as a financial standpoint. You know that it's far cheaper to cook your own meals and buy your own food from supermarkets in particular. They're going to be the cheapest, most likely. And so by encouraging this eat out to help out, it's just subsidizing companies that aren't very profitable in the first place. And also, if you wish to go from an actual conservative traditional viewpoint, shouldn't be encouraged. And yes, I know that the high street seems to be dying and that's why they're doing it. In which case, yes, I understand, but of course, having to wear face masks stops people from going to high street shops, but also just the lower costs from places like Amazon. But let's go with the pros. Let's go with that. So for a positive, if you're going out for the day and you decide to eat out while you are out because you don't want to fast throughout the day and just eat in the evening despite the benefits of fasting, and you don't want to take food with you for whatever reason, you don't want to plan ahead or you don't want to have to carry that much with you, whatever it might be, you want to go out all day and you want to have a lunch break in the middle, and you've gone out with your significant other and therefore you're going to find a local chain or cafe to eat at, then that is the ideal time. If you've set aside a day for going to the high street, do some window shopping, do some actual shopping, then it is going to help you tremendously. The point for them to make it back in terms of taxes is that it encourages you to go to the high street and spend a lot more than you would ordinarily, and therefore the subsidy that they're providing will be made back because you're spending a lot more in the surrounding area instead on the cafe itself. So that's the plan. It is not for just a one-off eating out. That is not the idea from it. Just doing that will not help. Let's remember that the government is not selfless. They are very self-centered. Predominantly, they're looking for power and therefore how to please enough people, but it has to be future-proofed sufficiently in order to enable them to continue to do it. So they are not looking for you to go out to a place to eat. They are looking for you to go out to spend more money as much as possible and rack up that debt. Why not? And eat out while you're there in order to encourage you to stay longer and spend more money on other things. That is the idea. So you'll think, oh, I'm saving 50% here. That's fantastic. That means I can spend £100 more today. Which, of course, it doesn't, but that's what they're hoping for from the mentality, at which point they're gaining 20% from the VAT. But that's, I suppose, the pro. If you're looking for shopping, then you gain that back. The con is pretty self-evident in what I've said, that you're only getting this discount to places that chances are you wouldn't be going at ordinarily, or if you are, they're places that you know that you really shouldn't be going to. If you're of the minority that actually this is a sort of investment in yourself, if you will, and I know that this sounds a bit too brutal and heartless, but that's how we operate here, that if you're one of the people that go, actually, I much prefer to go to a cafe in order to get work done. When it's virtual work, I am away from the distractions from home and I'm able to get stuff done. Or if it's just setting up for the day, if it's after the gym, then fair enough. That is something that helps you do twice as good for that day or 3 times as good for that day. In which case, the investment in the cafe, although initially seems an unnecessary extravagance, is actually worthwhile in the end. Then this discount, which will be 50% for you, would be fantastic. That is ideal. That is exactly where you should be going. But as a negative, if you're thinking of this as a restaurant thing and eating out, then you're going to be sorely disappointed because it is not. If you've thought, yeah, I should take my significant other out, show her that I love her, and have a nice evening together because we're going to get a 50% discount, then it is not going to be the case. You're going to get £10 off. That is it. And it was poorly budgeted as well. Going from what they say here, that they set aside £500 million to fund the policy. And, okay, so they got 10 million in the first week of £5, 50 million. So going over 4 weeks, you think, well, that's only 200. That makes sense. That the more publicity that gets and the more people wish to go out, because of course they will, that you'll have the initial people who thought, let's try this, but mainly it'll be, I'm going to do this anyway. Then they're going to learn of it more often, in which case they're going to be spending more and more and more, and it's going to exponentially increase. So I would be surprised if this actually covers it. If you get the 10 million people every week who are going out, then of course there's your 200 million. And then you get more people coming on board as well, then you're going to reach that upper limit very, very quickly. But as they say, the Treasury said that 83,068 restaurants had signed up to the scheme. They include fast food chains like McDonald's and KFC, as well as lots of local independent pubs, restaurants and cafes. They are for soft drink and food and only eating in. So if you're hoping to get the rounds in cheaper, again, you're going to be disappointed because it does not work for alcohol. So they are being picky in that. Why are they limiting alcohol? Who knows? Presumably it's because they're just too concerned it would be too expensive. But as they say, government figures show that 80% of hospitality firms stopped trading in April, and the 1.4 million workers were furloughed, the highest proportions of any sector. And in response, Rishi Sunak said, Britons are eating out to help out in big numbers. Well, perhaps this is too right-wing, perhaps this is too libertarian, perhaps this is too individualist, and you guys are more conservative than I am. But I'm much more to say, if you're going for the individual, then allow the individual to make their own decisions. But the worst thing that any government does, and that disappointingly includes the Conservative government, is they will have governmental overreach to say that you can't do certain things, and then instead of go, okay, we were wrong, let's stop that, then now go, yeah, we were right, but there were unforeseen circumstances, which means we have to double down and put in even more legislation in order to make up for the unforeseen circumstances. And that is exactly what they're doing here. And in an ideal world, of course, this would not be necessary at all. The government would say, we're protecting laws and borders, there we go, that's it, job done. But, I mean, they can't even uphold the laws and borders. But instead they're trying to just delve into other aspects of life that they are not welcome into. Not only are they inadequate in laws and borders, and as I said yesterday, trying to get the Navy involved for the borders, but also the private security firms are seen to be far more popular because the trust in the police is extremely low, and they know that the police aren't going to help out as they should do. So, no. But that's what it means. That is always going to be the consequence of government overreach like this. So, as he says, and they aren't just getting a great deal, they're supporting the almost 2 million people employed in this sector. The discount is only on food and soft drinks eaten on the premises, so it does not apply to takeaways. There is no limit on how many times the discount can be used in August, or for how many people, including children. Which, of course, at the surface is supposed to sound nice, but the practical limitations really drop it down and go, well, no. However, the idea of this is, of course, to help out people who are earning less as well, not just in the hospitality sector, but also the people who would like to eat out but can't really afford it very often, and would go to cheaper places as a thing to eat out, but it isn't a special occasion per se. As I say, ideally it's going to be used in cafes. That is going to be the main one, and then also fast food joints, probably. But at restaurants that they see what they're getting here, no, you're saving £10, and it's probably £10 each, plus drinks as well. If they're going for starters or desserts as well, you could easily get it to over £100, in which case the discount is 10%, not 50%. But that's the idea that they're trying to push forward, to say it's a 50% discount, up to a discount of £10. So it's supposed to be another marginal tax rate thing. It's supposed to be another means-tested thing, if you will, to say that it's just for the lower end and not for the higher end. But if you're concerned about the workers, then of course consider how much the workers, the waiters, the chefs, the cooks, are being paid in even the higher end restaurants, because please do look into it, because it is a lot less than you think it is. They are very comparable. The waiters are essentially just hoping for tips from wealthier customers. but they are expecting a higher service as well. But they're not getting paid much more. So I think they missed a trick there if they wish to try it all, but as far as I can see, it's always much easier and a much better decision for the government to just not get involved. If they haven't made a big thing about the coronavirus in the first place, then we wouldn't be in this position, and the government wouldn't have to be trying to reappropriate our earnings in order to encourage their particular fetish for the time being. But hey, I hope that you do enjoy cafes and you take full advantage of it, and maybe you do have a nice day out and enjoy it with your significant other, or you don't do it as a special occasion of a date. You just say, hey, why don't we make a change from the normal routine and go to a cafe instead and enjoy something there? Why not? In which case, more power to you. Good luck. And for everybody who finds that a cafe is a good start to the day or a good break or enables them to do better work, then again, more power to you. I think that you're going to be the ideal people that are going to get the most out of this. So do go ahead. But as always, until next time, have a good one.